Kevin with Kaizen Academy with this week's Kaizen Quips. Boxed life. We live in boxes. How often are you told not to box yourself in? Like, get out of your box. We have to understand we all live in boxes. It's the knowledge of that box and what we can do with that box that matters. Boxes aren't bad. They give structure to your life. When you box yourself in and confine yourself, that's where things become a challenge. How often do we live in a box that we created that we actually don't like? We need to live in a box that we are happy with. Now, let's just talk about our box, okay? I went to Michael Bernhoft's core event, and this is how he describes a box. And then what I did is I added a few things. So, here's a box as an example. Ta-da! Think of it as your viewpoint in life. So if we go through the box analogy, the front wall is what you want, desires, what you like to do, what gets you excited, what gets the blood going, creative juices, whatever makes you. The back wall, what you don't want. These are thoughts that you're avoiding. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of pressure of success, fear of the unknown. Don't want. If we're facing the box, then we're going to put the right wall. That's your identity. This is how you see yourself, how you want to appear to people. How do you talk to yourself? What things are you filling your head with? What books are you reading? What are you learning? How are you implementing the things that you are learning? Left wall, people. Who do you associate with? Who do you spend your time with? Who encourages you? Who demotivates you? What person you will become is determined by the people you associate with and the people you hang out with over the last 5 years. This is the one reason why people talk about their association they have in school, whether it's high school or university. That is a structured 4-5 year period of time. That's why that's important. People. Now, so start putting this together a little bit more. This is the bottom, or your foundation. What decisions are you standing on? This is what your identity and your foundation are built on. Where do you have a stronger foundation? What do you want? What don't you want? What is your identity built on? The people you associate with, this is the footing of your life. Foundation. Those are foundations that other people see. Then other foundations you know about. Expectations from the top. This is the idea that can make or break you. What others are hoping to accomplish, what others you can hope to accomplish, is others' expectations so high that you can never get out. This may be a mile high that you can never achieve touching the top. It may be so low that ants trip over your wall. What are you hoping to accomplish? Are you able to get out of your box? That way you can look outside of the box and see what's going on. This is where out-of-the-box thinking comes from. Are you able to disassociate yourself so you can take an objective look and see where things can get better? What makes you like you is the same thing that makes others like you. Expectations. Outside and inside. So what do you do if you don't like your box? Well, first, you have to decide you want to change your box. If you think about changing your box, how much change will happen? None. Change doesn't happen until you start putting those thoughts into action. You need to have an assessment of your box. To do that, you have to think outside of the box. This means you have to get outside of the box. Can you get outside of your box? Is the lid of expectation closed so you can't even get out? John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid. Let's say you put a bunch of fleas in a jar. Fleas can jump about 5 to 8 inches, or roughly 66 times their length. If you put some in a baby food jar, they can easily jump out. It'll take a lot of effort, but they can do it. But if you put a lid on the baby jar, they'll learn just to jump high enough so they just won't hit their head. After hitting their head so many times, if you remove the jar lid, they won't go any higher. This perceived lid is what they're doing. They're used to bumping off their head. You can take that lid off, even though they could have done it before, they won't jump out now. This is a perceived lid. This is the law of the lid. So first, to get out of the box, you need to make sure the lid is off so you can get out and look at your box. Removing false expectations and getting out of the box and creating a new P. This week, I was working with a new student. He's a young 8-year-old. He's experienced with foil and epee, but he was very hesitant about doing epee. After talking with him, we deduced the reason he was hesitant is because in epee, it's heavier. He picked up a child's 32-inch blade, and it was heavy for him. So the last class, I took one of my adult blades, okay? And I told him, I don't know if you could hold this. Maybe you could hold it for a 50 count. If you take a look at the blade is about 5 inches longer. It has a larger bell guard, okay? It's heavier. After talking with him, he deduced the reason he was hesitant is because the epee is heavier. He picked up a child's 32-inch blade, and it was heavy for him. So last class, he picked up my adult weapon, 5 inches longer, and I told him, I don't know if you can hold that one. It's an adult-sized weapon. You're welcome to try, and maybe you can hold it for a 50 count. Well, he took up that challenge. We made it up to 50. 100. I asked him if he wanted to stop. He had already doubled his expectation. 150, 200, 300. I asked him if he wanted to stop, and he said he wanted 400. At 400, one of my other students came in and started counting. 500, 750, 900. I asked him if he wanted to stop now. He said he wanted 1,000, 1,000. I asked him again, and he still wanted to go on. 1,100, 1,200, 1,250 is when he finally stopped. He blew up his lid. He went 2,500% over that 50 that he thought about with an adult weapon that he was holding in the on-guard position instead of a child. He blew his head out. The expectation went wild. 1,250 is when he finally collapsed and stopped. He blew up his old lid. He went from 2,500% to over of the 50. It was an adult weapon, not a child's weapon. What do you think happened when we brought out the 30-inch blade with a child's bell guard that was more appropriate for his size? He had a fantastic lesson. It was easy. He started his P. Open up your lid. If there are expectations that are holding you back, remove any false expectations. Get some P and do it over and over again. Remove the lid so you can look at your box. We'll talk more about that in next week's Kaizen Quip. Until then, create some good pee. Coach Kevin from Kaizen Academy. And a quick shout out to my Sounders, 12th year in a row qualifying for the postseason. Yeah, baby. So you can get out your box. That was weird. I need to go back a little bit. We're out of the thoughts, out of the, and I can't even talk about that box right there because I can't even say it right now. Okay. Now we need to back up again. We are way beyond what